Hello, welcome to my English class. In today's lesson, I'll be talking about clauses. What is a clause? What is a clause? A clause is a group of words that has a subject and a verb. A clause is a group of words that has a subject and a verb. There are two types of clauses in English. There are two types of clauses. The first one is called the independent clause. Independent clause. An independent clause is also called a main clause or a simple sentence. An independent clause is also called a main clause or a simple sentence. Look at another explanation. An independent clause or a main clause or a simple sentence has a subject and a verb, and it expresses a complete thought or idea. An independent clause has a subject and a verb, and it expresses a complete thought or idea. The second one is called the dependent clause. Dependent clause. A dependent clause is an independent clause that begins with a subordinator. Does that sound a bit confusing or very confusing? No, it doesn't. Listen very carefully. A dependent clause is an independent clause that begins with a subordinator. It cannot stand alone as a complete sentence. Now, take a look at this group of words. Because I was tired. Because is a subordinator. So, because is a subordinator, this is not a complete sentence. Let me split this. Because is a subordinator. Now, this is now a complete sentence. I was tired. It has a subject and a verb, and it expresses a complete thought. If I take it back to this place and get rid of this comma, remove the comma, it turns back to a dependent clause. It becomes a dependent clause again. So a dependent clause is an independent clause that begins with a subordinator. This is an independent clause, I was tired, beginning with this subordinator. So subordinators make the independent clauses dependent. Subordinators make independent clauses dependent. That's profound, isn't it? A dependent clause is a group of words that has a subject and a verb but does not express a complete thought or idea. A dependent clause, so this is another explanation. A dependent clause is a group of words that has a subject and a verb but does not express a complete thought or idea. Take a look at this again. Because I was tired. If someone says, because I was tired, this does not give us enough information. I would like to know what happened because you were tired. So this cannot stand alone as a complete sentence because it doesn't make sense. Because I was tired. Subordinator. A subordinator is also called a subordinating conjunction. A subordinator or subordinating conjunction is the first word in a dependent clause. A subordinator or subordinating conjunction is the first word in a dependent clause. Is the first word here. This subordinator is the first word in this dependent clause. A dependent clause is also called a subordinate clause or a fragment. It's also called a fragment because it's not a complete sentence, it's just part. It can be part of a sentence. The following underlined words are subordinators because, since, when, while, all these underlined words are subordinators. The following group of words, this group of words, because I was tired, since I was tired, when they go for a walk, all this group of words are dependent clauses. They are not complete sentences. However, we can combine any of these dependent clauses and an independent clause to form a complete sentence called a complex sentence. So a complex sentence, let's look at complex sentences. A complex sentence is a sentence that has one independent clause and at least one dependent clause. This is one independent clause. I went to bed early, and this one dependent clause because I was tired. When a dependent clause comes first in a sentence, put a comma after it. When a dependent clause comes first in a complex sentence, put a comma after it. That is what I did here. Because I was tired, comma, can you notice the comma here? I went to bed early. I went to bed early because I was tired. There is no comma here. Why? That's what I'm trying to talk about. That's what I'm talking about. When a dependent clause comes first, it comes first here. In this complex sentence, we put a comma after it. Do not use a comma when an independent clause comes first in a complex sentence. This is an independent clause. I went to bed early, so there is no need for a comma. I went to bed early because I was tired. These two sentences mean the same thing. Because I was tired, I went to bed early, or I went to bed early because I was tired. Don't forget that subordinator makes an independent clause dependent. Thank you for watching this video.